Welcome to the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. This podcast is about all things outdoor photography, including landscapes, wildlife, macro, and more. The show features two talented photographers, Henry Doyle and Ryan Taylor, who bring their different experiences in photography to the podcast. The show is released weekly every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. In today's episode, Henry and Ryan talk about some recent projects they've been working on, including Ryan's new photo book and Henry's recent webinar. But firstly, they discuss ebird and the pros and cons of using it, and photography outings lately or upcoming backpacking overnights coming up soon.
Welcome back to episode 44 of the All Outdoors Photography Podcast. And today we have a very, very improvised podcast for you guys.
Yeah, like most of our episodes, we honestly kind of wing it. Well, I guess not all of them, but I mean, do have scripts. But this one, we're just making it up as we go, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just kind of a general update, projects, everything. Before we start, though, I do want to mention that we have a Patreon. If you would like to sign up for the Patreon, we got a link down below. We'd really appreciate it. And it's not just a fee, you get extra content with that. There's separate videos you can watch about it if you would like to know more about it, but link to that is down below.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a lot of things that Henry and I worked on thoroughly. We want to do things that are going to be very beneficial for the viewers here and listeners. Just fun stuff like just interacting with us more, having more kind of like exclusive live streams. There's a portfolio review feature, which I really hope people take advantage of in the higher tier. And yeah, just lots of cool benefits and packages, and stuff to really engage with the community. I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So yeah, link to that is down below. We really appreciate it.
Yep, we really would.
Yeah. So what have you been shooting recently, Ryan?
Good question. Well, this time of year, especially with festival season and everything, it's been opening back up. August, as the time we're recording this is early August. It's been pretty busy for me on the weekends with those events. But in the meantime, on the weeknights, I emphasize the evenings, weeknights, I'll just go out for a couple hours with the camera, and I've been doing quite a different things. I went to a new location, which there's a new video upload on my YouTube channel. It's Daniel's Peace Memorial Park, and that was a really cool place in Germantown, Ohio. I've never been to before, but have been like anticipating for probably over a year now, and finally got the time to go, and it definitely was worth it. Lots of cool photos there, some different stuff for me, photographing like this little building out in the meadow and prairie. You just have to see the video and the photos to really, I guess, get a sense of what I'm talking about here. But it's a really cool location, I think, and it's great for landscape photography that evening. I'm trying to think. Other than that, been doing more cityscape photography. I went back to the exact same location that I did my hometown of Dayton, Ohio, doing a panorama, or several of them at that, during sunset. And I finally nailed down the 5 fountains going off composition. It's a panorama. I think I did about 4 or 5 images together vertically with the camera. Finally nailed that panorama, which is really cool. And yeah, those are like the 2 most recent that come to mind. Just photographing some flowers in macro style at a local garden, just stuff like that, really. But yeah, I got a couple of hikes coming up in the coming weeks. Some like backpacking overnight trips, and I'm gonna bring the camera along, so
Nice.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it's gonna be all solo, so I can just focus on me and the camera, and backpacking stuff, cook some meals. Should be a lot of fun.
Is it pretty remote backpacking trip, or?
Yeah, it's a couple of metro parks in my area. They're about 30-40 minute drive from my house, but I've been to them extensively before in the past year or two, and they definitely deliver. They're incredibly like scenic and photogenic, and not too many people go out there to hike, but they're some of my favorite locations. They're like thousands of acres, and it's like wooded ravines, just lots of streams and creeks. I mean, it's cedar glades. It's got like just beautiful old growth trees. Um, it's probably about as scenic as Ohio gets, honestly, for woodland especially. But yeah, it's great. So I've never camped there before, but I'm probably gonna bring the tent and/or hammock and try it out. So and then get some photos of sunset and sunrise. We'll see. I'm just gonna play it
Awesome.
by ear. Yeah.
Maybe you'll see
So
like a bobcat or something too on those trails.
you know what? That'd be really cool though. Out there, it's because like you said, it is really remote. Your question, yeah, it could I can see it happening. Could be a possibility. So
I
we
mean
will see. I
that'd
guess.
probably be the place to see something like that. I would think out in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, it's outside of a city, Germantown that is. But it's like these two metro parks that are like sandwiched with this town in the middle. They're just yeah, it's very very just remote. It's quiet. You really won't see people for hours, honestly, including these campsites. So it should be fun. Primitive camping at that, I'll say. It's not glomping or any of that stuff. I'm not too interested in those,
Hmm.
quite frankly. So I like to pitch a tent and kind of rough it more.
Yeah, awesome. Looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing the photos from that. Are you gonna do any vlogs or anything on that?
Ooh, yeah, good question. You know me, I'm always at the work to something. Um, so I'm doing three of them. It's gonna be 3 Thursdays in a row. So I'm just gonna do some single overnights and hike before and after, while it's daylight. But I do have a video idea in mind. I've had in mind, I'll say, for months now, and it's basically like a silent film where I'm not speaking, but it's just gonna be the nature sounds and everything. But it's gonna be just like um, think of like Morton Hilmer's quiet sections where he's just not talking, but he's just doing things. It's kind
Hmm.
of gonna be like that, if
Oh,
that
cool.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be just basically like I guess B-roll in a sense. It's just gonna be it's gonna be all that. It's gonna be me hiking. It's gonna be like an emphasis on audio and sound is what I'm picturing, as the idea for this video. And it's me setting up my tent. It's gonna be just, but like I said, it's not me talking at all. It's just gonna be me pitching the tent, starting up that stove, cooking a meal, shutting out the lights for the night, get all the bugs and whatever else, you know, sounds, I guess, at night. And then I wake up, might do some camera stuff. I don't know. It's a cool idea. I really want to try it out. So I think I'm going to do it on this trip. Seems pretty likely I'll, get around to it.
That's a great idea. It's not as many people do that style. Like even though some of the big names do it, like I feel like there's still it's kind of a new segment of like the vlogging community.
Mhm. I mean, I will say I kind of shamelessly stole the idea. Morton Hilmer is definitely an inspiration, but
Hmm.
I was watching a Dave Morrow YouTube video he put out a couple months ago, I think by now, and it was basically like that, where it was just like a silent film, where he's just like pitching the tent stuff. So I will say I'm kind of like copying it in a sense, but I'm definitely adding my own spin to it, of course, and my own touch, I guess, on it.
Yeah,
But it's definitely inspired by those two guys in particular and what they do for videos.
cool. Looking forward
Mhm.
to that.
Yeah, thank you. Other than that, that's pretty much it at the moment, photography wise. So what about you?
Oh well, I took a break after I got back from Michigan. I took like about a 2 week break, which was nice. Yeah, I still worked on computer stuff, but I took a break from out in the field stuff. But this week I went back out there. I shot my first vlog, which is pretty cool. It was fun to make. It's up there now if you guys would like to watch. Um, I originally went out on that trip looking for a barred owl because I saw an ebird alert. There had been one right where I actually was. That's where the vlog was filmed. I originally, if you watch the video, I started out looking for this barred owl, but I quickly ran into some deer, which is interesting. Um, but I went back today as well looking for this barred owl because I have a neighbor who actually lives. This park is actually really near my house. And this neighbor lives like closer to the park, and she saw the owl in the park when she was walking. So on a tip from her, I went out. She told me the specific woods it was in. I searched the whole woods for like 2 hours. I couldn't find it, but I'm working on it. So last year, when I first got my wildlife lens, I saw a barred owl twice in 2 days, and haven't seen an owl since. So it's kind of like the elusive thing for me. I want to go back with my better camera settings and better knowledge of photography, but it's ever elusive. But hopefully, I'll find it soon.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I mean, owls. You ask any owl, or I think that's what they call themselves, and it's like, it's a tough game to get into. They're very stealthy. The wing beats are completely silent, and I can confirm that. I've heard barred owls and great horned owls pretty close to me in treetops, and it's like they'll fly tree to tree, and you do not hear it. It's crazy, but yeah, they're tough ones to photograph too, especially.
Hmm. And the hard part was I also saw some owl droppings as well on a trail, and
Ooh,
it's like, you know,
like the owl pellets.
yep. And then that just made it worse. Like I was like, I know it's here, but like it's not here right now. Like come back. But
Taunting you, yeah.
I'll find it at some point. I'm sure. I'm gonna keep going. It's so close to my house. I could just go frequently. Um,
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I found so many pellets, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I've only photographed that one species of barred owl, and hopefully this winter too. Maybe I'll find some more as well. It's definitely easier when the foliage starts to clear up. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know like how many owls there are in relation to summer and the winter, but that should be a good season for that too. Uh, yeah.
Do you
Uh,
do you get short-eared owls at all? Do you get those in Kentucky?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay, because we have a special prairie up here, near where I live at least, and yeah, they come down there, they come down here rather to every winter or so. So it's like a pretty popular attraction. People go photograph them, but it's like in this one location only, I believe. It's pretty
Hmm.
much exclusive. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very challenging. So I'm sure if I do get the shot, it'll be very rewarding. It's not just a simple thing to get. And I thanks to eBird too, because without eBird, I probably wouldn't even know where to look in the first place. Um,
Hmm.
but hopefully I find that. So
Shout out to Eber. Yeah, it's probably
yep.
the best resource in existence, in my opinion. Like field guides are great, but like Ebert's like a whole nother level.
Hmm.
Um, so I can agree with you there. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, just keep track of that records. Do you have set on your email, or I think it's only email, not text. But do you have the alerts set up? You know
I
what
do.
those are?
Yes.
Okay.
I think for I just have them for the barred owl right now because that's what's been in my area, but I should probably widen that too as well.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I have mine set for like my home county where I live, and then like the nearest one over that I go to a lot and frequent, for like hourly and daily alerts. And this is general stuff, but it includes my needs, wants, and rarities.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, but yeah, you can imagine during like spring migration in particular, it like spams the heck out of my inbox. I'll get like 20
Mm,
emails a day, because people are just getting these checklists, and there's
yeah.
um, I think about 2 years into birding, like actually recording my, sightings and photographing. But I'm still getting all these new species like popping up on my alerts just because it's
Hmm.
stuff I haven't quite frankly seen, simply.
Yeah. I may be considered a selfish eBird user because I never record anything. Um, it's
Oof.
just well, it's like I don't know. Like I feel like there's already a lot of people on these birds. I know Louisville has a pretty active birding community. I don't want to like put more pressure on the birds. I guess
Right.
that's at least how I reason it in my head. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I've been noticing recently is like I've been going to a lot of locations, to film videos at in the field, and if I go to the bird in particular, I'll find there's like no hotspot on eBird for them, and so I make one. You can suggest those, and they actually get uploaded and reviewed, and pretty much always will accept them. And it gets kind of, I don't know. I check back on them like a couple weeks later, a month later, or something, and I'll see like one or two people going on the bird. Now, like I get the point of like the community aspect. Like you're supposed to want people to go out there and find them, of course, but it's just like I don't know. I'm afraid some places will just get overrun if there is like a rarity or something there. It's like you just never know.
Yeah, it's crazy how much eBird is used in the birding community. Like things like that will have an impact. And sometimes it could be positive too, because if you make a hotspot, and there's like donations accepted for that area, you might have more donations. It's not all negative, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, I got shouted out I think on some email newsletter chain, for birding in Ohio, and it does like the whole state, but I got like a shout out, for I think in Montgomery County for like putting a hotspot there. They're like thanks to Ryan Taylor, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't even know they did this, but I mean, yeah, it's great, and it sounds silly because that's the point, but I do put a heavy like asterisk on like the idea of like making these places more publicly known, because there's just a few locations I'm just like these are my little patches, and I kind of want to keep them that way, my own little secrets, I guess. But like some places, it's just they're already so busy as is, or like you just can't help it with wanting to suggest it because it's like this could be a great spot that
Hmm.
more experienced birders could go to and find more species than I could. That's often the case, at least.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I've also heard that like sometimes the hunting management areas. I got this tip this week actually, from an Instagram friend. That these hunting management areas, they may not be an ebird, but they are apparently amazing birding spots.
Hmm.
Some
Is it
hmm?
is it the wildlife areas? Is that like what you're referring to?
Yeah,
Like hunting areas?
wildlife management areas. So you have to
Okay.
be careful, of course, with hunters. Wear an orange cap or something until you get close to the bird, of course, to not scare it away. Um, and
I
make sure there aren't, if there's an abundance of hunters, just leave and check the seasons too, of course. But I might try one of those soon.
I mean, honestly, hunting season doesn't last all year, so like you're pretty
Yeah.
much safe from I think September to January, I think.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I mean, like, so you can go there whenever. I mean,
Mm.
like, I would actually forego the idea of like, I wouldn't advocate for anyone to go, our people, to go there during like hunting season, just because you do get intermingled in that kind of thing, and you just don't want to do that. I used to do that when I was inexperienced, accidentally, just go there and be like, why? Holy crap, there's a person, in camouflage, with a gun and all that. But so I just avoid those places outright during hunting season, or depending on the time of year. But sometimes you just can't help it, and you do need to like get some sort of species like I don't know, like a ringneck pheasant or something, or a wild turkey, and it's like
Ooh.
they'll release them during hunting season, like at least Ohio does. They'll release like 1,000 of them in a certain area, and they just roam free, and they get hunted, of course. And so
Mm-hmm.
like you can't help it. So yeah, you could wear some orange or something bright, fluorescent orange, yellow, doesn't matter. But I mean, like spring migration, that's not hunting season, so I'd say have at it because those
Ooh.
those those wildlife areas are some of the best kept secrets I think for birding. Like
Mm-hmm.
people, they're not like a place to take your family. They're not really even hiking trails.
No.
There's like,
No.
but it's just like tons of acreage, and it's all very. Some of it's mowed, of course, but like so you can walk around areas, but like it's all in these plots. At least here in Ohio it is, and like it's just all just there. I don't know. It's cool. There's multiple habitats, and they're just like you get so many different birds. It's insane. Like yeah, I don't know. Last spring I got like 40 species or more. At just any given day at some place. So they're great. So I'd highly recommend them.
Yeah, I may not have gotten warblers this year, but next spring migration, that's definitely like on my radar. So I'll definitely try to get to one of those.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you bit the warbler bug, and it's
Uh
pretty
huh.
fun. They're fun to photograph because just how bright they get. Most
Uh
of them
huh.
are like a yellowish pigment or plumage.
I did have one session with the warblers in Michigan, but it was way too dark. Like it just did not turn out well. But it was fun to observe them. They get really close to you, or at least these warblers that I saw. I think they were pine, but I'm not sure.
A pine, yeah, that's a good species. And that's actually one that lives up to its name, fortunately, too.
Uh huh.
It's not like some misleading thing. It's like, no, actually, you can find them there.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, that's pretty much it for me in shooting. I think I'll probably go out again this week and film another vlog. I'll probably get back to once a week videos, because the vlog has kind of gotten me back into YouTube a bit. So uh, I think I'll try to do once a week. So
Cool, cool. Did you want to talk about that video a little bit here, or you just
yeah,
want?
sure. So uh, in the video itself, like I said, I was searching for an owl. I ran into some deer, so that was pretty interesting. These deer were actually very close to me. Like this one baby kept trying to get closer and closer to me, and I was kind of freaked out, honestly, because it like wouldn't leave me alone. So that was interesting. Um, And it's hard, but it was kind of easier than I thought to kind of vlog and film at the same time. The only embarrassing part was there were a couple runners that passed me and were like, kind of looking at me like, what the heck is this guy doing? Like, he already has a big camera and now he's vlogging himself. I got some weird looks with that. This was like at 6:30 a.m. and there were still people out. Uh, but
Not surprised, yeah.
that's probably what I get for going to a public park in the city. Usually I go to more isolated areas, but this was more public. And then after that, in the vlog, I found a molted cardinal. Incredibly weird. I didn't even know they existed. I didn't know that cardinals molted. It's just a standard cardinal, and he's just basically missing his head feathers. So that was pretty cool. I like the shot I got of it. Probably gonna print it actually. I've been liking these more small and frame bird shots. I know it's cliche nowadays, but I really like them. So I'll probably print that one. And you can see that all in the vlog there. And it's not the highest quality in the world. I'm just using my phone because I only have one camera right now. When I upgrade next year sometime, I'll have two cameras. But for now, I'm happy with the phone. I got like a little mic attachment so the audio sounds good. And yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. So.
Right on. You should though, honestly. It's a weird thing at first. Like, you could go back to my first video, and I'm just terribly awkward. I mean, I really am not now, but like, I'm much more, I guess, comfortable just being in front of the camera, talking to it. Like, it's come. Honestly, I don't shut up now if you ask me, but like the earliest videos, I could definitely had this timid nature to me where I was just like, I don't know what to say, and I'd repeat the same things over, and it was just terrible. And then all that stuff, and not that yours is, but it's just like, I'm just saying, for beginning, it's like I didn't even know you used a phone either. I thought it was like an actual camera. I couldn't tell.
No, I had the phone. I have this like Rode Video Micro, which is meant to be a camera mic, and I found this cable that just lets you use it with your phone. So I got the audio figured out, and then I just attached it to a tripod, so like a full size tripod. So it's kind of camera like, but not quite. It doesn't have like the shallow depth of field, but it's kind of nice anyway. You kind of see the environment around. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I was
certainly more
surprised.
mobile too.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised how good it did in low light. Like it was so dark. I mean, that forest, I had to use like ISO like 12,800 sometimes on my camera for the stills, and the phone handled it better than my camera video wise. But it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it, of course, and I'd recommend anyone else too, as well. I mean, yeah, you did great with it, and it's cool, but yeah, you just gotta keep making them, I guess. You definitely get. I think you said you already enjoyed it, which is great. So I think after I made my first one, I was just like, I don't know about this, and then I kind
Yeah.
of like edited it, and I was like, okay, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, they're fun to make, and it really
So
does, like, it seamlessly goes into your workflow. Like, it's almost weird for me to go out without filming a video.
So funny
Nowadays,
story with me. In March, I actually filmed a full vlog. I gave up completely. Like I took the footage. I got all the footage. I just didn't edit it. I
lost
just didn't.
episode
I
now.
didn't like it. And now on this one, I really like it. So it's just something clicked, I guess.
Yeah, took a break from it at least. I don't think I've ever backed away from like an in the field. I don't think I've backed away from a video at all. I'm just kind of like, I'm such a why not kind of attitude. Like, I'll just put it out even if it's only okay, because it's just like a moment in time. But yeah, there's a few that are just like I don't really like, I guess. But like, I never like stopped myself from making something or putting it together.
Yeah, it's like you said, it just kind of molds into your workflow, really.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, so keep them up.
Thanks.
Cool. All right, that's a big lengthy updates, but might
Yeah.
as well
Sorry.
might as well get to. No, it's all good. We might as well get to the real deal here of the episode. At least I think what we both want to talk about. So we're gonna split this down the middle for the rest of the episode and talk about two topics that we're both going to share here.
Yep. All right. So you want to go first, Ryan?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
So
Do you want me to ask the questions, or what? How do you want to?
I guess.
Okay, so uh, well, first of all, intro your project first, and then I'll
Oh my.
ask questions. Sorry.
Now you're embarrassing me. Uh, so I recently, finally at least, put together a photo book. Just something real nice and simple. I made it through Blurb. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's 100 pages, 100 photos, that is. It's more than 100 pages, I guess, but it's pretty bare bones, honestly. It's just basically throughout, it's spanning 5 years, the past 5 years at that. And it's different images I've taken, all outdoor nature photography, of course. And I just basically curated my favorite ones and put it together in this simple photo book. And yeah, so it's been out for now. It's been out for a couple weeks for sale. I think I have it priced at $50 for a soft cover.
Hmm.
But, yeah,
So, how many? Do you know approximately how many photos are in there?
I think it is 100. I think 101 actually of like the actual content, and then that's not including the front cover if you want to include that. There's two photos on the back of a portrait of me, a really old portrait actually. I need to update it, and and then a photo of me on my Jeep, my former Jeep that is, and I'm doing like an Ansel Adams tribute photo where he stands on his car with a tripod and camera. So yeah, but the actual photos like that I took is I think it's like 100, 101. So, but yeah, it was pretty tough curating that whole. Like, I looked through my entire back catalog, everything, the raw files even, and I'm just like scouring for anything that I might have missed, stuff I could re-edit, and just improve the edit of the photo itself. But yeah, I pretty much pared it down to about 100 photos, which I feel like over 5 years. I mean, it was tough trying to pick favorites, I guess, but like I somehow made it work.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what medium did you make it through? Like, did you do independent or did you go through a website or?
It's Blurb, yeah. So it's self-published. They have a pretty nice software. It's called Bookright. I'm not affiliated. We aren't affiliated. I'm just talking about my experience making my book for the first time on there through Blurb. But yeah, they have this software you call Bookright, and it's basically just it's very simple. Honestly, it's drag and drop. You can put text. You can put other different graphics. You can upload different kinds of JPEG files. You can design the cover, front, back covers. You can do like if you have a hardcover dust jacket. Um, project. You edit that to be specifically like a different photo or whatever. So there's like lots of different options with them. It's fully featured and it's pretty cool because I had everything in my folder, my photos that is, and I upload them all at once. And then there's like an auto feature, and this like saved me so much time. It's like an auto like sort feature, and so it sorted them by date created. So I had them all in chronological order, which was my original intention, anyways. So it's pretty cool to actually like just do that with like a one-click feature. And it sizes them automatically based on your project. I think this is it's a square photo book, the one I made. It's like a 7 by 7, I think. So it's pretty small. It's very portable, lightweight. It's soft cover, like I said, with a glossy front and back. But the actual insides is just simply the photos. I originally took all this time to make like captions and the year created and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of with a smaller size, I just kept it real simple. I was just like I just want the photos, honestly, on like a white paper. Just keep it focused on solely on that. Concerning the small pocket size of this.
Yeah, that's. I mean, with 100 photos, all those captions. I mean, that would also take like I can't imagine how long that would take. So you
Hmm.
probably want to be pretty in depth on those too. And were you? You said it was a like chronological. Were you like looking for your best photos, or more just kind of showing your progression?
Oh, that's good. That's a good question. Both actually. I mean, it's that 5 years is definitely showing my progression, of course, as a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a combination of like technically the best ones. I mean, emphasis on technically, as in like the lighting, the exposure, and then there's also a couple in there that I threw in there like just personal favorites. Like actually, the very first photo in there it's from 2016, way back when. So this is like baby Ryan at this point. I had like my Rebel T3, a 75 to 300, my lens on there. Not even like my big telephoto nowadays, but there's a turkey vulture that perched on a tree. I was out hiking with a buddy here in town, and it just perched on a tree, and it has this very spotty overhead light. There's some bokeh in the background, but there's lots of diffraction because of
Mm,
infringing. Yeah,
chromatic
so
aberration and stuff.
yeah. So it's
Mm,
like those red and green bands in like the white spots, the hot spots, the highlights in the back of the image, and it's still a photo that's like I really enjoy because it was my very first sighting of a turkey vulture, and it was very up
mm-hmm.
close, and it was like a total surprise. I mean, I'm just walking along the trail, chit chatting, and then like out from like the right of me, it just like swoops in or swoops rises above me, and like there's a turkey vulture just on the ground basically, or like on a log, and then he gets on this tree and everything, and he's just perched high and mighty above me. And the photo itself shows that perspective. He's just towering over me. You can clearly tell I'm pointing my camera up and everything, but I was just merely reacting to this cool surprise. And like I said, it's not technically the most like amazing photo, but like I just feel like it was a great start to the book. To start on
Yeah,
that, show like the progression in my camera skills and just maybe even composition. I don't know, but
and
it was a good start.
I'm sure at the time too, you probably thought it was an amazing photo. So it's kind of
Oh yeah.
like it was your best photo for the time, but nowadays you probably look down on it, not the story behind the photo, but just the photo itself. You know, like
No,
why did I do this or why did I do this setting? You know.
100%. But I mean, like I said, it's one of those like I guess moments where like the photo and the excuse me the story and the experience is like more cooler than the photo because like it was like I said, it's midday light. It was really spotty in the woodland there by the river, and like I just took the photo and like I could have not taken it, but the photo's actually pretty tack sharp. Now I'm looking at it right now as I look at the book. It's pretty high ISO. I believe I was at 5.62 for an aperture, so it's
Mm,
pretty wide open, which introduced that book, of course, in the background. But it's still an image I actually enjoy. I printed it all those years ago, like you said. It was one of my favorites, and I printed it nice and big a couple times, and I still have a couple prints of that. But yeah, by today's standards, I wouldn't let this slide. I probably wouldn't even edit it, quite frankly.
oof. Yeah.
But back then, I was just like, this is as cool as it gets, and it's this moment actually is what sparked my interest in birding. Honestly, this is one of those bird moments where I was like, this big bird, it's cool looking, and I got a photo of it too. I was
It's
just
a
like,
dragon. Yeah.
I finally seen one.
Uh-huh.
um, but yeah, I mean that was one cool moment. So all these, I really wish I could cram so much more into this book because I just have all these ambitious ideas. But like, because all these photos mean something to me in different ways. There's stories with each one, of course, like anyone's work. So yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun putting together and kind of get more sentimental about like the just the work over the years, I guess.
Is it just wildlife or kind of all your genres?
Yeah, it's everything in nature, outdoor, which is most of what I've done. I was thinking early on when I was putting the book together and the photos, I was thinking about including some of my more recent, and by recent I mean like the past year, the more architectural, human man-made stuff. And I didn't want to include it just because of the name of the book. I titled it Natural Ohio, if you don't know by now. And I just want to keep it more natural. So there's minimal, I guess, human-made things. There's a golden hour gull shot, a ring-billed gull, and it has this gorgeous, gorgeous like orange golden hour light on it, and it's on this buoy, I think it is. It's like those things out in the lake or whatever. It says no boats on it, swimming area or whatever. But I just could not include it. It just was a beautiful image and beautiful light. So stuff like that. So that's about as far as I went. But yeah, it's a little bit of everything: landscape, wildlife, macro, flowers, everything we like to talk about on the show here.
Cool. Yeah, I mean it describes you, so why leave anything out?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I make this would probably be the because this book was a lot, took a lot out of me, and I did it mainly for I put it for sale because that'd be nice, but like it's mainly just for me to make it and say I made one, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more like a creative project, I guess. I wasn't expecting to sell, millions of copies, of course, but I just wanted to say I made it, So where's it going at with that though? Total brain fart. So yeah, I mean, is what I was getting at is like I don't think I'll make another photo book for a long time. We'll see. Maybe if I ever did get a publisher deal, you never know.
Yeah.
Um,
Who
but
knows?
Yeah, okay, what I was getting at, sorry, what I was getting at with that is that like my next photo books, if I do make them, would be much more specific. This was a
Mhm.
nice beginning, or it was just kind of like a greatest hits, if you will, or just like a best of compilation. But like,
Yeah,
yeah,
every nature photographer, every photographer, they start out usually with a greatest hits. I think that's a good
hmm
thing to do.
yeah, I would recommend that too. And just look over your work, however long ago it was. You could have started months ago, or in my case, years, and just choose your favorite ones or your most technically amazing ones. Just any of that. But
Well,
yeah, I mean, just
when I was in Yosemite, I went to the Ansel Adams Gallery, and I
oh yeah,
bought his 400 photos, like a book of 400 photos, kind of chronological, and it tells the stories too, and it's really cool. I could have gone for more specific, but I really like kind of the progression there.
oh yeah. I think I have seen that one. I don't own it, but I think I've like rented it at the library, and yeah, that's a great one from him. Just hearing all those different stories and everything. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
sorry,
I feel like
continue
it's.
on. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, no, Ansel's great. I mean, he's a big reason why I made photo books.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of these recent YouTubers, they made these really modernized, beautiful coffee table style books. Um, just I've been ordering enough of those and reading them, and they're inspiring on their own, of course. But like I said, I just want to keep this one nice and simple. It's small. It's fairly affordable. I tried to keep the pricing fair, but still deliver a lot of good quality photos and content in the book. Um, I did not include any like EXIF data. I thought about doing that in like an index style thing in the back of the book, but I just forgot that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just made this over the span of a few weeks, but my original conception for the idea of this book was like much bigger. It was going to have a lot more, like I said, stuff with it. That got to be way too expensive, and I was like, I can't do this because I don't want to charge it that much. I'm talking like over $100. So this was like the result, basically. I kind of got it to pare down my vision to something smaller, but still something I can live with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the photos tell the greatest stories. So
hmm
yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a nice high quality book and good colors and everything. So good providers. So it's like you picked the right
Yeah.
path.
Thank you. I will say it's like I sequenced the book. I mean, it's all chronological order, but like I sequenced the photos in such a way because I really wanted to pay attention to like design of it. Like it's not just a mishmash like on
Mm-hmm.
every two page spread. So I did kind of pair the photos, just kind of messed around with them and the arrangements. So I did get ones that are much more like either really striking and contrasting in color or like ones that are complementary on each 2 pages. So I feel like it worked out pretty well, and it actually naturally flowed pretty easily. So I was quite fortunate because the nice thing about chronological is it means it's with the seasons too. So like you get lots of gray stuff in winter usually, lots of greenery in summer, and so on. So yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. How you kind of paired them together like that. Uh,
hmm
Probably makes for a very nice arrangement. So.
hmm Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I don't know what else there's to say about unless if I ramble on incessantly, but yeah, just it's a nice little thing to put together. I'd recommend a lot of people do it. I did include actually some words in the very first page. It's just like a forward and acknowledgments. So I'm just kind of briefly talking about, very briefly, that is, my story about first picking up the camera, experiencing all that, and then basically bringing it fast forward to me writing out this forward and saying about what the book's about, the photo book, and yeah, and then I just shout out some people in the book. So that's pretty much it, though. So I really enjoyed making it, and yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Make sure you guys check that out. There'll be we could probably put a link in the podcast description, and there's links on Ryan's social media as well.
Cool. Yeah. I'm also one more thing actually. I might be making like some kind of cinematic video on my YouTube channel, like unveiling it. I mean, it's been out for weeks now. But like something maybe with like voiceover. I don't know. I'm still thinking out the idea, but it could be something cool to make. So we'll see.
Ooh, nice. Um, so yeah, anything else about the book?
Yeah, I think that's it. Let's hear more about your webinar though.
Yeah, so last Wednesday, uh, I did a webinar for NANPA. It was pretty awesome. It was a young photographers panel. Um, so it was with three other photographers, Martin Culpepper, Corey Hart, who is a lost guest of the show, and then Daphne. I don't know her last name, but Daphne. Um, it was a great show. It lasted about an hour and a half. It started out, we all kind of just explained kind of what kind of shooting we do. We showed off a couple photos, talked about what gear we had, and then we went into some questions, and we knew the general questions we knew beforehand, but there was also a nice Q&A session at the end as well. And mostly the planned questions were about conservation, so that was very interesting. Um, One of the big topics was like baiting and bird calls, the ethics behind that. We also talked about like preserving natural lands, drones, all kinds of things. I know with drones, I saw you brought a drone recently, Ryan, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I haven't got it to work actually, or I did, but like I tried connecting to it earlier today just to fly around the backyard, and it's like not working. So I'll have to
Oh,
like tinker.
oh no,
I'll have to tinker with it some more. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but
yeah,
but hopefully I get it working.
yeah. So it was a great panel, really. Some great audience questions. We had about 60 live listeners. And if you guys are NAMPA members, you can go back and watch the recording. Unfortunately, it's not available to the public, but if you are NAMPA, you can go in and watch that. And it was just this was my first big presentation. I've got some more coming up soon. Like, I think next, or in 2 weeks, I'll be on, or no, yeah, 2 weeks. I'll be on a podcast on Facebook Live, or not a podcast, just a presentation on Facebook Live, with once again two former guests of the show, David Johnson and Corey Hart, as well as Tony Baldessaro. We'll be talking about landscape photography specifically, so that'll be pretty fun. I'm also that week I'm appearing on a podcast as a guest as well. I don't know too much about that, but that'll be interesting. So, yeah, I've got some cool things coming, and I really enjoy doing presentations. I feel like if I do make it my career someday, I'd love to have that be a big cornerstone of my business, kind of the online presentation, or even in person too, in the future. Uh, so yeah, it was really fun and a great way to get into it.
Awesome. Yeah. I could definitely see doing more like speaking engagements or like even a TED talk maybe. That'd be really cool.
Oh wow, thanks.
You can do it, man. Anyone can do it, right? Yeah, man. I mean, I tuned in for this when it was live, and yeah, I'd agree. It's great, and I think it only was supposed to last an hour, but like you said, it lasted an hour and a half, and it was worth every second just to hear you guys your unique lens, I guess, on the natural world. And I'm not I always say I'm not that much older than you, but it's great to hear like you guys not only taking great photographs, of course, but also caring much about the wildlife and the environment, of course, too. So that's really great.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
admirable.
it's definitely good to see that because there's not a lot of people who care anymore, unfortunately. And our environment's only going to get worse, so we need advocates, young advocates, to help with that. Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Maybe for anyone that doesn't know or isn't aware, what exactly is NANPA?
So NAMPA is the North American Nature Photographers Association. Um, it's pretty old organization. It's been around since the early '90s, I believe. And it's just really community for nature photographers. So it's just a small monthly fee. I believe it's like $10 a month or something. And you get access to a wide variety of things. Like you get forums. There's a cool thing you can get access to where you can meet up with local photographers in your area. You can say like, I'm a wildlife photographer. This is the area I live in. This is my experience level, and that they can try to match you up with a photographer if you want to go out shooting. I haven't used that yet, but I think I definitely will at some point. They have like free workshops you can do, free online webinars. it's a really great organization. It's it's kind of like the nature photographers organization in America, really. Um, it's got a podcast too, which is great. It's a great listen. Make sure you guys check that out. If you're, it's very similar to this show, so our listeners will probably enjoy it. Um, it's run by nature photographers. It's not like there's some like executives that have nothing to do with photography. Like they are nature photographers, and the leadership changes. Like it's a vote, I believe. So I don't know if you know who Dawn Wilson is, but she's the president of NANPA right now. She's a great photographer. I've talked to her before. Um, yeah, it's a great organization. I'm happy to be a part of it. So
Awesome. Yeah, I was a member. I think I let my membership run out, sadly, but um, watching that kind of made me think twice. But I let it run out like 3 years ago. But I remember it being, an excellent resource. Like you said, the podcast. There's all those webinars, and it gives you the full history of them to view and listen, which is great too. As a member, that is. And yeah, it's just a great community. There's like forums, like you said, the meetups. Just lots of different great tools. And I believe there's even discounts on like insurance as well, gear insurance and travel. So yeah, just
oh
great
yeah,
perks and benefits too. Yeah. And once again, we're not sponsored by them, of course. We're just talking about our experiences. But yeah, it's a great organization. And yeah, like you said, there's really nothing quite like it, like an organization like that. I think the closest one's Nature Photographers Network, NPN. But even that's more about the community and forum aspect, I think, more than like this. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's great. So yeah.
And they do a lot of conservation work too, as well. A lot of their money goes directly towards that. So it's definitely
Yeah,
not a
it's
for-profit thing. They give back a lot. So
oh for sure. Yeah, I like how pretty much everything they do, every action as an organization, I keep saying that organization is that it's all done with a conservation mindset, which is great.
mm-hmm.
There's definitely is like a fine art, like creative aspect to the photos and the people's work, I guess. But like, yeah, it's definitely all done with like respect for the landscape and all that, the wildlife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's made up too of macro, landscape, wildlife,
Oh yeah,
all of them. So if
everything.
anything nature, there's a place for you there. So
And a lot of big names too are members or have
oh
been
yeah.
longtime members too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you'll be among the greats, the
Thank
legends.
you. I don't know about that, but yeah, thanks.
Well, you are. You're a member, or are you a member?
Sure.
Or
I am a member. Yep.
I wasn't sure if you had to be the BO in the webinar or not. So.
Yeah, they gave me one, so that was pretty nice of them.
Okay, hey, that works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you got it at least. But yeah, it was a great webinar. Just
Thank you.
hearing you guys' work, and you gave the show and me a shout out. You didn't have to give me a shout out, but I was kind of expecting almost you to say something about the podcast. So
Of
that's
course.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was cool, and it was a lot of fun to hearing that and everything. What do you think you like took away maybe from the show, from the webinar there? Like
Well,
anything?
one thing I took away that it is nerve wracking. Let me tell you. I mean, it's just like I felt very nervous. I try not to come off that way, but it's a lot of people, and I mean, it wasn't that many people, but it's just what if I said something wrong, or what if I got a fact wrong about conservation or something? Like
Mm.
I was very nervous, but I was able to pull my nerves together and do it. But I probably should have prepped a little bit more. Probably I did mostly improvise, answers, which I think it worked. But I probably should have just done a little bit more research, maybe gotten some facts to back everything up. But I mean, it was good. So
Awesome. Yeah. Did you have to make like a presentation or a slideshow, or did you have any like script to read off of?
yeah, so I knew the questions, the main questions that Gary asked, and then I knew about the photos, so I already had a slideshow with photos and then my gear. But besides that, it was pretty chill, which was nice because I am pretty busy, so it was nice not to have to like type up a 3-page thing, for an hour and a half long presentation. So
Of course. Yeah, the laid back setting's always preferred usually.
hmm
So it
yeah,
felt more
and
like a conversation between you guys almost.
yeah, and when I'm doing some camera clubs later this year, and for that, of course, I'll do a lot more prep work because it's solo presentation, so I'll work hard on a nice slideshow with a script and everything, or at least some loose notes to follow. But the spontaneous ones, you can just kind of wing it a bit.
Hmm. Now I think you've established like a working relationship with Gary Farber, who was on that on the webinar, and of course we talked to Corey before. But did you ever talk to like Daphne or Martin before that show, the recording?
Martin, yes. Martin, I'm gonna be doing some collabs with Martin next year. Can't talk about it on here, but so I already knew Martin. I'd had some meetings with him. Daphne, no. But
Mhm.
I'll probably, since she's kind of affiliated with Hunts, I'll probably work with her more in the future. I'm sure. And then Corey's, a good friend of me and Ryan's. He's been on the show, file corrupted, but we still consider him a guest in our hearts. Uh,
He'll be
but
back.
yeah, I don't know. The nature photography community feels so small. I even though I didn't know Daphne, I felt like I knew her just because we do the same things. Really, it's just
Oh yeah,
It's a very small community.
you,
Some
you got
some of the big names might have hundreds of thousands of followers, but they're still a part of it too. Like they're it's small, really.
it's small, but like in a good way, I think, where it's pretty
Yeah.
inclusive. And like especially like your guys' age range is very niche, I'd say.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
said before, especially from a not only photography standpoint, but conservation too. Like I said before, like you guys really have an emphasis on that, I think.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of our generation's thing with we see climate change and all these problems, and some of us want to do something about it. So, uh,
Right.
and of course, nature photographers they're more inclined to care about that too. Of course, you always meet some who don't, and they're purely out there for their own gain. Um, you know, that was probably me in the start, to an extent. Um, but I quickly learned that nature is not for me. It's for the animals and for the plants, and I'm only a guest. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you mentioned actually about early you basically admitted like your mistakes, I guess, early on, where you're like, yeah, I
Mhm.
used to go trample through some vegetation somewhere.
Mhm.
Like you're very raw and honest about, which is pretty great. So most people wouldn't admit to that, I think, especially on a live recording, of course, too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they probably did it too. I mean, let's be honest. Like people take shortcuts in life. Sometimes I didn't even know what I was doing was wrong. Nobody ever taught me that. So I just kind of, eventually realized that. And yeah, I didn't want to hide anything. I'd feel fake just saying I've never trampled plants before. I don't want to be like pretentious or above anybody. Just kind of wanted to admit what I did and say how I changed because I think that makes it more relatable too.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, all of you had like an authenticity. You guys all seemed like you're speaking from the heart. Things about you care about, and like, yeah, definitely seem to be with integrity, which is, respectful, of course.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
are
I
you,
think that's. Sorry, what were you saying?
are you glad you did it?
Yes, I'm very glad I did it. It was great.
Okay, cool, awesome. Yeah,
Yep.
I recommend you guys all check it out. It's neat because like all four of you had different like kind of had some overlap, of course, some wildlife stuff, but some landscapes. Like there's definitely like some overlap, but like it's all neat because each of you had different things you specialized in, I think, too, which is cool too.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I feel like in the young photography community, I don't know why, but it seems very heavy birds. So it was good to get a nice variety in there.
Hmm. I think Corey did landscapes pretty much
Uh,
exclusively. Um, did Daphne do only birds? I believe, right?
I think Daphne's kind of does both. Um,
Okay,
and then Martin's all wildlife, and then there's
mainly
me.
owls.
There's me who is kind of in the middle of all of that at both
All outdoors.
communities. Yep. Uh huh.
Oh
Yep.
gosh, That cracked me up. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
um, but no,
So
it was
yeah,
a great
thank
webinar
you.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I have a
cool.
couple more updates I just wanted to talk about. I completely forgot.
Sure,
Uh,
fire away.
my due to the global chip shortage, my 100 to 500 is still not here. By the way, so I'm still on the 600 F11, chugging along. Uh, but
That's a bummer though.
hopefully that should come soon. I haven't paid for it yet or anything. I won't have to pay till it gets shipped, but hopefully soon. I think I heard there are some out there. I'm apparently on Canon's list, so hopefully that will come soon. And then I'm going to Asheville, North Carolina on fall break. I'm going to see a college out there. I'm also going to do a ton of photography, so I hope to get maybe some black bear photos, or there are elk there, so I'll do some elk, and just get some nice Smoky Mountain landscapes. So I'm kind of early stages of planning that, so I'm pretty excited.
Awesome, dude. Every time we talk, it's always something new and big. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just still doing the same old stuff.
Hey, you're doing great work too. Great work. You've had so many galleries and good projects.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that stuff. Other than that, not too many other announcements for me right now that I haven't already mentioned, I guess. But yeah, it's been a great episode, at least overall. It's been great talking.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for watching the Owl Outdoors Photography Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the video version on YouTube as well. You can subscribe down below, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.